5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello, and welcome to Toastmasters in the Community. I'm your host, Fran Okeson. With me today is Neha Awasi.
That's correct.
Finally got it. Thank you very much. Neha, you're a new member of our Smedley Speakers Club. Very happy you joined that club, and I'm sure that we'll enjoy a lot of your speeches as we go along. Today we have a very small crew, so I hope everything works out all right. And I'm going to start off with, like I usually do, with my speech. I'm doing a two-parter today. We call them shows because we're at the Staten Island CTV studio. However, these are our Toastmasters meetings for the No Limits Toastmasters Club. I decided with the vacation season coming up in a few weeks that I would talk about some special points of interest on Staten Island. I've been on Staten Island since 1957, and I spent a lot of time seeing all these things that I will be talking about. So let's get started. The Staten Island points of interest, and this is, if you have some time on your hands during the summer vacation or whatever, you'd like to go out and see something without having to pay bridge fare or take the car too far away. Some of the things I'll just mention what they are, others I'll go into some of my memories of them. All right, the Alice Austin House Museum. It's right on right on Bay Street, right near the water, and it's an old revival cottage. It was owned by a famous photographer from the early 20th century. Her home is called Clear Comfort. People can go there and take beautiful pictures. There's a tour inside the house. It's really a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place to be. Historic Richmond Town. It's the only living history village on Staten Island. It's a museum complex. They're dedicated to preserving life as it was in Staten Island during the 17th through the 19th centuries. Craft demonstrations, they have craft classes, and other special events take place there regularly. Come nearer to my house, the Conference House. I live in Tottenville. The Conference House is at the end of Highland Boulevard in Tottenville. It's a 1680 manor house, also known as the Billop House, because of Mr. Billop, who most of that part of the Staten Island was called Billop area, and it's called the Billop House, but most people know it as the Conference House. It was the site of the September 11, 1776 Staten Island Peace Conference between England and the American colonies. The colonists were represented by Benjamin Franklin, Edward Rutledge, and John Adams. The British Crown was represented by Admiral Lord Howe. The conference failed. They tried to bring it about 3 hours, but it failed. The Revolutionary War ensued. The home contains 18th century furnishings, and it's surrounded by shady groves. It's at the very southern tip of Staten Island. It is a national and New York City landmark which overlooks the Raritan Bay. Now, on my second show, I will talk again about the Conference House, and what they have is, they used to have, the South Shore artists used to display their paintings there in June of every year on fences, and everybody would congregate down there and walk around. You could buy paintings and meet the artists, and it was a really nice thing. Lately, they've been doing it other places. We had a meeting there one time, one of my clubs, and we had the ghost hunter, because people say the Conference House is haunted. There is some sort of a story that there's a place, it might have been a wine cellar, but they said it was a place that the slaves used to be able to cross over into New Jersey. So we had a ghost hunter there, and he swears that there's a ghost that lives in the Conference House. We had an old-fashioned tea party there one time. I ran it, the borough president, Ralph Lamberti, came, and the Advance Center photographer. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough of the porcelain teacups, and by the time the photographer got there, we were using foam paper cups, and that's the picture that went into the paper. So, and Susan Molinari, Guy Molinari was our congressman for his term, and his daughter Susan, I walked her around. She was running for office, and I walked her all around Tottenville. I took her down there, and she saw a painting of her father, and she fell in love with it. But money was an issue. Yep. So I told her to go and look at something else, and I went over and I spoke to the artist, and he said, send her over here. She got the painting for a very nice price and surprised her father with it. Fort Wadsworth. Now you think of Fort, it used to house the Army, the Navy, Coast Guard now, all right? I started the Liberty Toastmasters Club at the Fort Wadsworth in 2004. It lasted for quite a while. until they started sending the men to other stations every 6 months, 6 or 8 months, and it wasn't a viable club any longer, so we had to disband that. All right, I'll be touching on that a little bit later at the end of the second show about lighthouses. All right. Now, Joan Maurizio, who you'll meet later on the show, I was asked if I would we had a visitor from California, the international president one year, and our district governor at the time called me and asked me if I would take his wife on a tour of Manhattan, and I said, I don't go to Manhattan. I said, but I'll be happy to take her around Staten Island. He said, oh, all right. So I did. And outside the Fort Wadsworth, that's the Narrows, where you come into Manhattan, New York Harbor. And here we are in front of this old fortress and the Verrazano Bridge. And she was thrilled. That's the Narrows? I've heard so much about the Narrows. Oh, I've seen the Narrows. And I thought, well, okay. Now, every year, I don't know if they still do it, but when my son was a Boy Scout, they had the annual Boy Scouts flag-burning ceremony at Fort Wadsworth, right on the beach. And that was very, very, very special and very symbolic. Now, I just want to go through a couple of other things here. There is the Snug Harbor Cultural Center on Staten Island, and Snug Harbor dates back to 1801, when it became known, it used to be known as Stale Snug Harbor, because the old seamen would retire, and that was like a nursing home, or not a convalescent home, but it was a place for old seamen to end out their life. Now there's museums, there's galleries, art galleries, performance venues, there's historic buildings there, and the trees are really beautiful. If you're into horticulture, they have Norwegian maples and Austrian pines. Staten Island Botanical Gardens, that's another spot that I really enjoy because it's located on 83 acres, and we're District 83, so that's easy to remember. It's in the grounds of the Snug Harbor Cultural Center, and there's 23 individual gardens at the Botanical Gardens, including the Butterfly Garden, which is beautiful, the Rose Garden, Sensory Garden for the blind. There's an orchid collection, and all the gardens explored from, can be explored from the English perennial landscaping to a hedge maze, which I never had the courage to go through. But anyway, on my second meeting later after lunch, we'll go into some of the other things on Staten Island that I think might draw you to come and spend a little time on Staten Island and visit these sites. So that's the end of my speech. Okay, thank you. That was nice. Sounded like a foghorn, didn't it? Okay. I don't know what movement you're saying. I don't know what she's doing. Our second speaker is Joan Maurizio.
I'm not going again until they say it's okay.
Are you ready, Joan?
The microphone's not. I'm very ready. Yeah?
Why don't you go up again and see what happened?
It's not me, it's them. Good, thank you.
Okay.
I'm blaming myself.
Okay. My next speaker is Joan Maurizio, who's doing speech number 1 from the Humorously Speaking Advanced Manual, Warm Up Your Audience. Joan, you have 6 minutes on the clock. Kevin Thompson is your evaluator, and I got a kick out of your title. Happy Mother's Day to him. Happy Father's Day to her. Let's all welcome Joan Maurizio.
Thank you, Madam in Charge. One Sunday, folks, when I was at church, it was Mother's Day, and everybody was giving out Mother's Day wishes. And as the couples came out and they wished me a happy Mother's Day, I said, thank you, happy Mother's Day to you too. But a couple of single men came out. Their spouses have passed away, and they said, oh, happy Mother's Day, Joan. I said, thank you, happy Mother's Day to you too. And they looked at me, what is wrong with you? I said, well, have you ever changed a diaper? And they said, oh, okay, I've got you now. So that was funny. And I'm going to do the same thing when Father's Day comes around, and you will soon find out the reason why. I'd like to tell a father and son joke, because this is supposed to be a happy speech. The father and the son were at the gas station pump, putting gas into the car, and a dog came over to another pump and was licking up a puddle of gas somebody had carelessly left behind. Suddenly, the dog stopped licking up the gas and started running around and around and around the gas station about a half a dozen times, and then all of a sudden, if you're as old as I am, you remember Laughins. Laughins was a very funny show, and they had this little fellow on a tricycle, and he used to, the wheels were going fast, and he was spinning fast, and he was going way ahead, and all of a sudden he would just keel over. Well, this is what this dog did. This dog was running and running, and all of a sudden he just keeled over. And the little boy was shocked. He said to his father, "Daddy, did he die?" And the father said, "No, he ran out of gas." And that's a good dad. He came up with a great answer. So what I wanted to speak about today is the lessons we learn in marriage, and it shows you how men and women can behave just like each other and get along fine. One of the first rules of being married is no cooking complaints, especially if the person that's cooking is the only one in the family that cooks. And sometimes the chef in the family is the husband. I know my husband cooked great Italian food. The other thing is no nagging or complaining in the morning. Save it for later in the day. Don't make their life aggravating so early in the morning. If you want to be aggravated, get Rooster. They'll bother you the same time every day before 6 o'clock. Another one is don't talk about divorce during her PMS or your flu or after jet lag. It said much of what you fight for in life, you think about it later and it's so pittance and trivial it doesn't even matter. You laugh about it. Admit your shortcomings, especially the obvious ones, and we all have them. Fights are akin to immaturity. Grow up, be happier. Don't be a teenager forever. Being right all the time eventually loses its appeal. Being right all the time is not what counts in life. Be a little humble. There's no such thing as being perfectly understood all the time, and men and women, sometimes the longer they are married, the more they understand each other. Sometimes instead they grow apart. There is no, sorry, I read that. Don't worry about going to bed angry, and I don't really agree with this because they say when you wake up in the morning, things will look much better. Sometimes, especially later on in life, you don't wake up in the morning, so it's good to settle things before you go to bed. Otherwise, you throw him on the couch. No, I'm only kidding. Correct your wrong, your own faults, before you correct your spouse's. If you complain about something, at least have a simple suggestion or an alternative to the problem. If you want something, ask for it. Your spouse doesn't always have ESP. They claim to have it sometimes, but not all the time. The louder he or she yells in a marriage, the quieter the other spouse should be. Once you accept the inevitable disappointment, life will become much easier for you. Avoid divorce. Be the spouse your other half would be foolish to leave. And I know that happens so many times to many people I know. Their spouses are sorry for the stupid things they left, and now they're alone. Be generous, express gratitude, accept apologies graciously, and apologize first. You may not have all the time in the world, and you realize that as you get into your 50th wedding anniversary, if you make it that far. So I think it's time for another joke. And Vic is asked by his friend, "What does your mom do when she has a headache?" And the answer is, "She sends me out to play." I guess the kid is admitting he's his mom's own headache. Another thing is, two couples detesting the other couple's spouse were out at dinner, and it was becoming very weary, and finally at dessert time, the spouse of the other mate said, "If you were my wife and I was married to you, I would give you poison." And the wife from the other couple said, "If I were married to you, I'd take it." So I just want people to realize they have to accept the stupidity in each person. We're not smart. We don't have 180 IQs. And you have to realize people can say very, very stupid things. So just remember that, especially Mother's Day and Father's Day. No hassles. That should be a law. That should be the 11th commandment. Fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you very much, Joan.
You're welcome.
Okay, and our third speaker is sitting up at the head table with me, Nia Awasi.
Yes, that's correct.
Getting there, right?
Yes.
Good. Okay. You can mess up my name any way you want. Okay, and you're doing speech number, what is this, 2 or 3?
2.
2, okay. I wasn't too sure. Okay, you're doing speech number 2, organize your speech from the basic manual, and you have 6 minutes. I am your evaluator, thank you. And your title is Estate Planning, My Say. Let's all welcome Neha. Not even going there with the last name.
Thank you very much, Fran. So before I begin, let me just clarify that I am not representing any company, nor am I a legal advisor. So now that we have that clear, let's talk about what is an estate plan. Think about the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the term estate planning. Well, let me tell you what I thought it was. For a long time, I thought that estate planning was for individuals who had large real estate properties. So every time I would pass by a large house, I would say to myself, this person owns a really large property, so this person has an estate. And I can guarantee that almost everyone thinks the same, or along the same lines. Most of us tend to relate the term estate planning with individuals who have gigantic real estate properties or have a net worth of millions of dollars. But that's not entirely true. You might be surprised to know that you too may have an estate. So to understand what estate planning is, first we need to understand what an estate is. An estate is nothing more than your total net worth, actually. So now what is the net worth? Your net worth is made up of your assets, any assets that you own. Assets like your house or your checking account, retirement accounts. If you have a life insurance policy, that's part of your net worth. Even your personal possessions like jewelry, if you have collectibles, that's all part of your net worth. So if you have any assets, then you have an estate. So with estate planning, it addresses the issue of what happens to your assets when you pass away. Have you ever thought about what will happen to your possessions if you were to die today, or if you were to become disabled? Maybe not. We don't like to think about death as much as we do like to plan about vacations and dinners. But the truth is that death is inevitable, right? With death, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when it will happen. So when that happens, you want to ensure that your assets are transferred to your loved ones in the most efficient and hassle-free way possible. Lately, I've been thinking about estate planning a lot because I have an 8-month-old child. And I'm an employee also. I have a retirement account. I own a house. I have other assets. And I want to ensure that if I and my spouse were to pass away today, my child gets access to my assets the way I want him to get it, right? So you might have a minor child as well. And you might not want that child to have access to your entire retirement account outright because you don't think that child is ready yet. So if you don't have a estate plan in place, that might complicate things when you pass away. The most terrifying thing is that if you don't have a proper plan in place, the state government will decide what happens to your assets. And that might not align with what your wishes are. If you have a minor child, you might want your brother to be guardian for your child. But if you don't have that written down somewhere, state might decide otherwise. So it's very important to have your estate plan in place. Other issues are if you have a spouse or if you have a child with special needs. If you don't have a estate plan in place and your child or spouse is getting benefits from the government, their benefits might be affected because of what they're inheriting from you. So that's another reason why you should consider estate planning. Also, you might have a blended family. You might have children from first marriage or children from second marriage, and you don't want them to acquire assets in the same manner. You may wish to have certain percentage go to your first kids from your first spouse and certain percentage go to your second spouse's kids. But if you don't have a plan in place, then again, state will decide how your assets will be distributed. So having a proper estate plan is very important. I believe that it is not an option, it's actually your responsibility to make sure that you have a plan in place for your loved ones. Because when you pass away, they're already dealing with a lot of issues. They have to worry about your funeral arrangements. They have to worry about state taxes. There's a lot going on for them. So the last thing you want them to worry about is how your assets should be distributed. Also, if you have a proper plan in place, it will help them avoid probate cost. Probate is very expensive. It is expensive, but it's also a very lengthy process to make sure that your will, if you have a will, it goes through that process. It takes a long time. But if you have a proper plan in place, then you can help your loved ones there as well. Who can help you with preparing a estate plan? Well, your attorney and a good tax advisor. It's very important that you have those people on your team to help you meet your objectives. So that's all I have to say today. If you have any more questions, please reach out to your tax advisor or attorney. As I said, it's not an option, it's your responsibility, and you owe this to your family. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nia. Okay, and moving right along, our next speaker is probably finding her way. Oh, there you are. There you are. I only have 2 camera people running 3 cameras, so I guess Kevin is now in charge of all cameras?
Yes, he is.
I hope he doesn't forget what he's supposed to be doing back there. Anyway, our next speaker is Rachel Weiss, and Rachel, you're doing speech number 9, Persuade with Power. I gave you 8 minutes because you're giving this CC thing for this club, and I think they'll make us President's Distinguished this year.
Excellent.
So I gave you 8 minutes so that you can
Thank you.
spread a little love. And let's see, Joe Maurizio is your evaluator, and your title is The Third Guarantee in Life. Deal with it. Let's all welcome Rachel Weiss.
Thank you, Fran. Our studio audience and our home audience. Everyone knows the first 2, and you can say them with me. The guarantees in life are death and taxes. Well, you can quote me, Rachel Weiss, because I'm telling you the third one that everyone wants to have a blind eye to. They don't want to admit it's there. The third one is change. So there are 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and change. And you can quote me on that. Change comes at us in 3 different ways. It's planned, it's unplanned, and it's unforeseen or collateral to a change that we knew about. Some examples. A planned change may be buying a new house. An unplanned change may be the weather. We have no control over that. And the unforeseen may be, sharing some love and having a child that wasn't expected at that point in time. Our reactions to change, there's 3 categories to that as well. We block it or try to be blind to it, kind of like an ostrich burying its head in the sand. A fatalistic or powerless sense that I can't do anything about it, it's just going to happen, and it's like a steamroller coming and rolling over us and flattening us out. The third is taking ownership and acceptance and recognizing that it's part of life, and so we need to deal with it. Let's go back and look at that blocking and that blindness to change. A lot of us just want to ignore it, like putting that ostrich head in the sand. Or if we ignore it, maybe it'll go away. If we ignore it, then maybe it'll skip by me. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. Denial is another way. No, they can't be doing that. They can't say that. They can't possibly think that that's the right way to go. And guess what? It happens anyway. The third is rejection. And that's, your fatalistic, your powerless sense of that change that's coming. When we look at the fatalistic or the powerless sense of change, it's our reaction to it. It hits us, and then we deal with it. And we scream and cry and maybe even throw a tantrum. The next is just acceptance. Okay, here comes the change. And that's not very good either, because if that's the way it is, then others are controlling our lives, and others are taking over things that, maybe we could manage better. Third is just the adoption of the change and just going through the motions. I want to encourage you to take ownership of the change, to look at it and accept it, and not just accept it, but realize that it's part of life and it's going to build your character, build your set of tools, build who you are, and you can actually benefit from the change because you're adapting to it. Last month we talked about embracing change. So yes, that's one of the positive ways of addressing change, is to just embrace it. I'm going to give you two other ideas as well. Not just to embrace it, but be proactive about the change. And then third, to anticipate the change. Sometimes we have a way of looking that's called strategic planning, looking beyond where we are today and recognizing that something's coming. We may not fully understand it, it may be in the gray, it may be kind of fuzzy, but we know something's coming. And so we're going to be ahead of it. We're going to anticipate it. Proactive. A change is being talked about or being announced. So we go in and we learn all we can about that change that's coming. Because if we are forewarned and we are forearmed, then we can control how that change affects and challenges us. And third, as we talked last month, embracing the change. That's more than just you taking ownership of it. It's now you being proactive, you taking a step forward and helping others see the change and helping others see the good part of the change, helping others see the positive that that change means and can mean for them. My challenge to you is recognize that there are 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and change. There are 3 ways that we can react to change: planned, unplanned, and unforeseen or collateral change that can be either something that bowls us over, something that we feel powerless to control, or something that we accept and make part of our life, take ownership of, and move forward in a way that we control how that change affects us, that we control how that change is presented to others, how we can work together and make that change count for our future and for the future of those that are around us and those that we love. Brant?
Thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our final speaker. And here she comes. Hello, Sue. Control room's pretty empty today, isn't it?
We're fine.
Okay, I know you're fine, because, okay, just to let people at home know, you're our audio tech in the control room, and I guess they're going to have somebody else is going to do your job while you're out here. All right, so you're doing speech number 8 from the basic manual, get comfortable with visual aids. I gave you 8 minutes because this is the end of our...
8's for the other speech
I
on
thought
the
I gave
next
you...
show.
Oh, all right. So how much would you like for this one?
5 is fine.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so we'll give you 5 minutes today. I was being very kind to you. Okay, and Neha, you're her evaluator. Do you have her manual?
Yes, I do.
Very good. All right, and Sue, your title is Set Your Intention. Let's all welcome Sue Brooks.
Madam Toastmaster, studio audience, and audience members at home. Several months ago, I attended one of the club meetings at my advanced club, Talk of Monmouth, down in Monmouth County, New Jersey. One of the members of the club, Ashley Rifkin, was presenting her HPL speech, Sharing Your Vision. Her intention was to complete her HPL this time. She had many that she started but didn't finish. She wanted to share with us her information about an intention-setting workshop. What is that, I thought. She went on to describe it during her speech and shared information about set your intention, the purpose of it being to embrace things that you want in your life, to identify what means something to you. She went on to describe that she wanted to create a workshop in which she would invite not just members of our club, but members of many clubs in the local area. I thought, wow, that sounds like something I need. Putting my intentions out there, bringing to me things I want more of in my life. She set the date, marked it on my calendar, and I was really looking forward to it. Soon before the date, I got an email that said, wait, I'm sorry, I have to reschedule. Okay, so I thought, okay, let's do this. I put the new date down on my calendar, and I said, I'm doing it. The Friday night came about, and Ashley had us sit down at a very long table in one of the downstairs conference rooms, and several members of other clubs were there, along with supplies, glue sticks, scissors, poster board, and magazine after magazine after magazine. It was great. There was something for everybody. Ashley began the workshop discussing what it meant to set your intention, to focus on things that meant something to you, and you would go through the magazines and clip out pictures of things that meant something to you, something that you identified with, something that you wanted more of in your life. So we snipped and we glued, and we came up with an intention board. I would like to share with you the intention board I created. Please display the intention board. This is the intention board that I created. I want to discuss a few of the items on it. I wanted more balance in my life, so one of the primary words up there is the word balance. I wanted healthier foods in my life to create a balance in what I'm eating. I wanted more balance between work and sleep and everything else. I wanted balance in my exercise plan. I wanted balance between the cardio, the strength training, and flexibility. And most of all, I wanted balance in my life. Thank you. You can remove the intention board at this time, please. Thanks. So I wanted balance. So I selected for my word, balance. Ashley asked us to focus on a word or two. One of the things I found that was great was that after the workshop, she said, I'm going to send you an email with the resources that we described in the workshop. At the email, she said, I'm going to send you, if you would like, a bracelet. And she sent us these wonderful little bracelets. If you would, please, can you show us the picture? Here's a close-up of the balance bracelet. I placed it on the poster next to the word balance, and there's a little token with the word inscribed balance. And the strings that comprise the balance bracelet are adjustable. Thank you very much for that visual. So a person can have a small wrist like mine, or person could have a larger wrist. I was thrilled to be able to participate in the workshop, and I have, since the workshop, incorporated some of the lessons, bringing balance into my life. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Sue. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, and we'll go. That's right. Yeah, my son came up with a very good idea. Let Sue be your evaluator. This way she doesn't have to keep running back through the dark to get to the control room. All right, my evaluator was Sue Brooks. And Sue, why don't you tell me what you thought about the first part of my speech? You'll be evaluating me this afternoon for the part two. Sue Brooks.
Thank you, Fran.
You're welcome.
The speech to inform, how will you spend your summer vacation, part one? Fran, you did a wonderful job informing us of wonderful places we could go all around Staten Island. The thing that I found fascinating was that your approach was very functional. You identified various places around Staten Island and how they related to each other. One of the highlights of the speech was identifying places that people could go on Staten Island without having to leave Staten Island, and you mentioned that they didn't even have to pay the toll to leave. So in other words, if you went out to New Jersey or another part of New York, you would have to pay the fare either coming or going. So you identified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places in this speech that you could learn about. You had a confident manner, and I thought you did a great job informing us of places people may or may not have been aware of, and the attributes and the things that they could learn. You encouraged people to learn while they were on their journey and to visit one or more locations. And the 1 or 2 things I might suggest to make the speech even better is perhaps rely less on notes, because you've been to these places and you know about them, so you didn't need to share, you didn't need to read as much. And the other thing, I would love to have seen a photo of one of those places, so when I go, I know, aha, I'm there. Thank you for the informative speech, and I really look forward to hearing part 2 on the second show this afternoon. Madam
And you will see
Toastmaster.
photos at that time.
All right.
Thank you very much, Sue.
you
And
so
our
much.
second evaluator is Kevin Thompson. You have your roller skates on, Kevin? Okay, and you're evaluating Joan's speech. Kevin Thompson.
Fellow Toastmasters, our Toastmasters in the front, in the audience, and those potential Toastmasters at home. So I'm here to evaluate Joan's speech. Now, if you have seen anything of our Toastmasters show, you know that Joan's speeches are innovative and as well as educational and delightful to listen to. So when she had this topic, Happy Mother's Day to him, Happy Father's Day to her, I'm like, all right, Joan, where is she going with this? Because I knew it was going to be a twist. And what I liked about it is that it gave you that sense of anticipation. But in addition to that, she had the opportunity of then shifting into developing better relationships. So it's not only breaking the role or the mold of what you would think of natural roles for a male or female, but also it was instructions to be a better person within a relationship. And one thing, I think the theme that she had touched on throughout, I want to bring to your attention is, when you got married, did you love that person? If you did, then why aren't you treating them the way that you did when you first met them? And I think that that was the theme throughout her speech. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to hearing more from Joan, and I know that you do too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Very nice evaluation. And now I'm evaluating you, Neha. And where did I hide that so you wouldn't see it ahead of time? There we go. All right, now you were doing Organize Your Speech, the second speech in the manual. And I found it very, very enlightening. Very, very nice. A lot of people think that you start thinking about your estate when you're over 50, over 60, and you start sweating a little when you're over 70, and after that, maybe you're too nuts to even work it out. I thought your message was clear. I think people should think about it like college age, or when you hit 20, 21, plan your life, because you never know what's going to happen between one period and another. I gave you almost all excellence down the line: the speech value, the preparation, organization. The opening was good. Your body was full of information. The conclusion I gave you, and I have some notes at the bottom. Conclusion, I thought you waffled just a tiny bit at the end. It was like you weren't quite sure, or you might have forgotten a keyword that got that comfortable. So, but I said a little hesitation, and it seemed like you had something in your head that wasn't there. The transitions, I thought they were great. Now, one thing, grammatical error. You said, I and my spouse. You should always put yourself last. Okay. My spouse and I. Just grammatically, it sounds better. They're happier with that too. All right. I will not tell the audience how many ahs you had, but you know we have an ah counter at our meetings, and I wrote down your number here, and I hope that it will decrease and decrease and decrease. It does take away from a presentation. I'm not going to say a speech, but a presentation. I thought the overall topic had basic, valuable information for people over the age of 20 or 21. Very good hand gestures. I didn't want to be staring at you, make you nervous, but I noticed that you used your hands to complement what you were saying, which was good. Some people flail around. That doesn't help anybody. And you have very nice vocal variety, and I was very pleased to be your evaluator.
Thank you so much, friend.
You're
This is
welcome.
very valuable.
You're welcome. And we'll go to Rachel and Joan. I know. I just don't want to make a mistake and call
No,
the
I
wrong-
said I agree with what you said about her. I
Oh,
said
so
amen.
glad you agreed.
Yay.
We've known each other too long, Joan. All right, this is Joan Maurizio, who's evaluating Rachel's speech. Let's have some applause for Joan.
Yay. Rachel, great speech. Rachel never disappoints us, fellow Toastmasters. She has all the check marks in the excellent column, and then I even wrote things like where they said was the speaker a credible source of information about the topic. And I said she has credentials, and I put my little smile face over there. Did she phrase her appeal in terms of the audience self-interest? And I said the power of three. I love how that came up more than once. And then in the end, they asked about body language and vocal variety contributing to the message, and she did. The voice was enthusiastic, and the gestures were enthusiastic. She had the 1, 2, 3 for counting, and then she had the arms out for flattening. So I thought that was great. And anyway, on the last one, I didn't exactly say excellent. I just put in the excellent column where it says, were you persuaded to accept the speaker's views? I'm thinking. I don't have a computer, so I'm at a standstill with going ahead with the program. But it does look like a good program. What could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? I said bribery helps. And then the last thing is, what did you like about the speech? And I said explicitly, it's a tongue twister, explicitly explaining all your points. She did a great job. She always does. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you very much, Joan. Now, Neha, you're evaluating Sue's speech, so let's hear what you thought about it.
Sure, thank you, Fran. So, Sue, you had your speech on set your intention, which is the speech is about getting comfortable with visual aids. Well, first of all, you are an excellent speaker. You look very comfortable when you're doing any of your speeches, and your talk comes across very confident to us. So I really enjoyed that. You don't look like you are someone who is not someone who's very new to the process. You look like you're a veteran. So good, very good job over there. Visual aids, excellent idea of intention boards. I think I will actually use that for myself. It's a great way of keeping your focus also on a certain thing. So I loved that idea of intention board. I would have loved to see more visuals, but I know there was a time constraint, so you could only show 2 pictures. But if you had more visuals about this, that would have been very interesting. I also would have loved to hear more about other items that you had on your intention board. I saw a little picture about vacation, do something or do nothing on your vacation. Very interesting. I would have loved to hear more about other items as well. But overall, great speech, no ahs. I didn't hear any ahs. Great hand movements. And that's it. Very well done. Good job.
You know you had 2 more eyes in that than you had in your whole speech.
Yes.
That's all right. That will change. Kevin, you get the first question.
I'm excited.
All right, we're going into table topics now. You have 1 minute, please. And Kevin, you
So-
have the first. What?
Will I give the? should
No,
I-
that's not now. I
Okay.
said after I do the ones that are in the book,
Okay.
then the extra. All right, I have questions for 3 people here, and I'm looking at the clock over there, and there will be time for more people to give answers. We're going to read off a word. So after Chris is done with his table topic answer, if you'll line up over there until the clock says 2, we have time for plenty of table topics. So as long as everybody gets 1 crack, then you can come up again. And that goes for you too, Naya.
So you say I'm getting more than 1 crack?
It's good to have you back, Kevin.
It's good to be back here with you, Fran, and,
Oh,
and our
Peter's
studio
probably dying in the
audience.
control room. All right, Kevin Thompson. I am half English. The other half is Irish.
What is it? Oh, okay, thank you, because I
This
was
is my
getting scared.
This is my question. Shush. You better listen so you can respond intelligently. You've missed so many meetings. Maybe you don't know what we do here anymore. Here is your question.
See,
I
I'm
am
being
half
good. I'm
English
listening.
and I am half Irish. All right. I have been corresponding with my pen pal in Yeovil, Somerset, England since 1969, when the Staten Island Advance had a story in that they were looking for pen pals around the world. We've been writing since 1969. Now that we have email, it's even better. So I was glued to the telly for the entire reading, the wedding of Meghan and Prince Harry. Please tell us if you watched the wedding, and if not, why not? Kevin Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, and I wish I had more time than just a minute because I could speak about this for a good 5 minutes. I was so excited about the wedding, not only because we got an opportunity to see the royal family add to the family, but because the presiding bishop of my church, the Episcopal Church, was the person that gave the sermon at the wedding. And I had already taped it and, was already set. I woke up that morning, it was pouring rain, and I said, well, let me turn on the TV to find out what's going on. And there he was, just getting ready to do the sermon. So then I sat there in amazement and wonderment to watch him actually give the sermon. And my recommendation is, if you have not seen it, you can go onto YouTube and see and take a look at it. The most important thing that he talked about in that entire sermon was love and the value of love and how we all need it. And I think that's a message not only for England, not only for the U.S., but for the entire world. We do not share enough love, and we need to have more love in it. Thank you.
Kevin, was that the man, Curry?
Yes, Bishop Curry.
Yes.
And it's funny because they talked about he was a bishop from Chicago, which is not true. He is the bishop of the Episcopal Church in the United States. So he's the presiding bishop over all of the Episcopal churches in the United States.
Well, I'll tell you, I really enjoyed him to the point where he was really getting animated and more animated and more animated. And since it started at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was getting tired. I figured, he really is enjoying himself. He turned into an actor at the end there.
Yes, very much so.
He had good things to say, though.
Yep, so thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You had nothing to do with his aspiration at all. Okay, Isaac, our director. Where are you, Isaac? I got to get you guys in the control room with some roller skates. Isaac, your question. You have only one daughter. If she fell in love with a member of a royal family, how would you react? Isaac Galvinovich.
Madam Table Topic Master. See, yes, I do have only one daughter, and I'm very proud of her, and I love her very much. And she fell in love, and she's married, and they're happy, and he's not from the royal family. So, to tell you the truth, I have no idea how I would react. However, I know exactly how I reacted when she not presented, but when we met with her then boyfriend. Okay? And my daughter was worried about it, and she wanted me to like him, and I said, honey, just calm down. It's okay. Well, just let's meet. Where? I don't know where. Well, let's go there. Okay, stop. I was taking improv classes, and I was about to, at the end of the program, there was a presentation, like we had a whole presentation. I said, bring him in. See, let him see how I make fool of myself. So it will be like easy, and nobody will be like uptight. And that's exactly what happened. We met. It went wonderfully well. Like I said, they're married for 5 years, so it should have been good. Anyway, I have no idea how it reacted, but I know exactly how I did react it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isaac. You're a good father. Okay, Chris Gomez. And we'll probably have room for one or two more people after Chris. Chris, your question. You have just graduated from college. What would you do if you met a girl in college, fell in love with her, and then found out that she was in line to wear a crown one day? What would you do? Chris Gomez.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Well, if I were in a relationship with a girl in college and I found out that she was in line to, she had royal lineage, I would imagine that would be a significant sign of trust for her to reveal that to me. That probably would have been a test of trust of her not revealing it to me throughout the course of our relationship, to make sure that I love her for who she is and not for what she comes from. So after filing for a joint bank account, of course, I think I would, from there, I would let her know that I appreciate her revealing that to me, and I would double down on the relationship. I would, see where things go from there. I'd get my tie on, my dress shirt, and go home, visit her family, and see where things go from there. Thank you.
Chris, very, very good.
Thanks.
Just so our audience knows, Chris signed his papers today. He's the newest member of our Richmond County Toastmasters Club. Now, all right, Kevin's back. Please, no talking in the back. All right, Neha, why don't you ask someone a question, then I'll take a second while you find another word. Please line up there, and we'll watch the time very closely.
So, Kevin, second question for you. I hope this is relevant to you. Why don't you tell us about some good house cleaning tips?
Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, I'm going to give you the ultimate housekeeping tip that you too can implement today, in fact, right now. Call a house cleaning person. Because the tip is, I am not a good house cleaning person. I can speak all day long, but not really a good house cleaning person. But I do know a number of good housekeeping people. In fact, I would like to say that my daughters and my wife do an excellent job. So how can I improve on that? See, the most important thing is that you have to know what your particular role is and what your level of expertise is. Speaking, doing table topics, talking about Toastmasters, making presentations, improving people's lives, that's where I excel. Housekeeping, cleaning, not so much. But my major role as a father, as a grandparent, is taking out the garbage. Nobody can take out the garbage like me. And I know you're thinking nobody can talk garbage like me either. So I'd like to present to you that for housekeeping, call someone whose job they know that they can do it better than you. Thank you.
Oh, Kevin, we've missed you.
Excellent,
We've missed
excellent.
you. All right,
Great
come on,
job.
people, line up. We still have 5 minutes or so. All right, Joan, all right, I have a good one for you. I picked out a word. Tell us about shredders. Joan Marizio. You got another one?
Shredders. Are we shredding cabbage or are we shredding paper? In our funny English language, fellow Toastmasters, one word can mean a lot. There was a lady that gave a speech about the word run, and she said there's 300 or 400 meanings for the word run, which I couldn't believe at the time, but when she started to rattle them off, it became believable. A shredder, yes. Most people think of shredding their private information, which is very important to do these days. I know I shred my stuff. My mom shreds her stuff. In her 80s, she still knows what she's doing. Shredding the salad. If you're making coleslaw, you want to shred the cabbage. You don't want to eat it whole. It's very difficult to eat cabbage coleslaw when it's not been shredded. But shredding is a very good thing. I like shredded cheese. I like to take a scoop of it and try to get most of it in my mouth, and whatever falls in my lap, that's okay. I'll eat that too. My lap is clean. But shredding is a very interesting topic, and I think we could speak probably at least a few more minutes on it. Thank you for your question.
Very good. Neha, I don't see anybody there, so I'm going to give you the next one.
No, we have Rachel
All right,
here.
Rachel, okay. All right, but if I don't see somebody there, I've got one for you. Rachel, tell us about 3 wishes very quickly.
3 wishes. I have a theme of 3 today, it seems. Well, one of my 3 wishes was to be recognized at work for the talent and skill and the abilities that I have, and to be able to take a lot of those talents and skills and abilities and apply them. And I just got a promotion. Yesterday, June 1st, I am now a lead information security analyst with the United Parcel Service. So that was a wish that became reality. Another wish is to have someone special in my life, someone that understands me and can complete my thoughts or my sentences. And I have that wish also. That's my friend Bill. He's been on the show before, and he's great. He's my #1 cheerleader, and he's also the one there to help me laugh, because I don't laugh enough. The 3rd wish was to be able to have a reconciliation with my daughters, and that too has come true. I now have an opportunity to meet and greet and have time with all three of my daughters. And that is 3 wishes that have come true. Fran?
Great, and congratulations. And I want you to get Bill back for another show with your ham radios.
We will have him back on another show.
Very good, Rachel. Thank you very much. Someone else up there?
No.
Okay, how much time do we have left?
2 minutes.
How much?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right, one more question. Who did I just hear back there? Chris, are you going to be brave?
I guess so.
Oh, is it my turn or your turn? It's your turn, right? So you give me a question?
Yeah, sure.
All right, my turn.
Chris, so why don't you tell us about what fashion statement means to you?
What fashion statement means to me? Well, the words fashion statement, it's being a millennial myself, my generation is obsessed with fashion and with how they look at all times on Instagram, on Facebook, on Snapchat, all the time. They want to look their best. I mean, me, myself, this shirt is from Zara. I bought it for, I'd say about $89 a couple days ago because I wanted something to look good and present myself with. Now, a fashion statement, it's had different variations of a meaning as time has progressed forward. I mean, today, this is a standard business attire that I decided to wear here, just because I wanted to make myself look presentable as the first time here at Toastmasters, of course. And really, the term is a bit flexible, I guess. Depending on the person, everybody has different senses of fashion. But I think it also embodies who the person is, whatever it is that they wear. They decide to express different parts of their character. I love the color blue. That's why I wore blue today. So yeah, fashion statement. It's an interesting topic that I could go into more detail about, but I'm running out of time. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank
Can you
you.
tell me how much time is there, and then I'll give you one.
25 seconds.
25 seconds, then we don't have time for you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll save that one then. Okay, I was going to ask you about team building. All right, so folks, we're coming to a conclusion on our first show, and we'll have a break, and we'll come back this afternoon, and we'll do another program, and as soon as the music starts to play, we'll know our time is up. Thank you so much for sitting up front with me. I did
Thank you,
appreciate
Fran.
it. And make sure that all the manuals are given back to the speakers, please, and we'll see you all in a couple of hours or a little while, whatever it takes. We're supposed to get some bad rain this afternoon, so I don't know. Everything is wrapped up in plastic, so I came here and the sun was shining, so I don't want anything to get ruined on my way home. So I thought your speeches were great. Your answers to the table topic questions were great, and we had a lot of fun today. So,
We did.
and now
Yes.
you're going home to your 8-month-old?
Yes.
Very good, very good. And what's his name? Tell the audience what his name is.
His name is Rishi.